Alrighty. My Polish gamer, my Ukrainian gamer, my Polish observer are all ready. Obviously, I do the observing for this stream, but he's also observing. Let's do it, guys. $100 on the line for this best of 5. Gunner, our Ukrainian Protoss, Snoxtar, our Polish Zerg. Who do you guys favor? Snoxtar? Snoxtar had an insane series once. I forgot against who that was, but I remember that those games were absolutely ridiculous. We had Reynor stopping by in the chat, and he's like, what on earth am I watching? It was on that map with the full gold. Was that called Equilibrium? Where you had the full gold and rich Vespian guys. Mega base. The original mega base. That's all I remember of Snoxtar. But he's a nice guy, he's been around for a while, and he's always down to play in the big brain bouts, like obviously many nerds are. Because it is guaranteed prize money. $80 for the winner, $20 for the loser. Let's do it.
Let's get it on. Round 1, fight.
In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our... Chicky Kalaris. We are looking at the main base of our Polish Zerg, kicking things off with a 12 pull. This is Snoxtar. In the top left side, this man showed in the Discord this week that he peaked for the first time in his career. He got 5,500 MMR, and that's obviously something to be proud of. He's also very active in the scene. He's active in online tournaments. Plenty of reasons to invite this man. It's Gunner from Ukraine. Loves his cannons. Don't know if he always cannons, but he loves his cannons. Why Basilisk? That's the name of the team. Why Team Liquid? Does it have something to do with water? No. They just went for Basilisk. Sounds cool, looks cool. Maybe one day they'll reveal a little more about the logo and the lore behind it, but it's just the name of the team, matey. The name of my team. Gunner, well, not my team as in I own it, but the team that I'm a very happy member of. Gunner scouts, sees no hatchery, thought about chasing the drone. He's like, nah, maybe I should go into the main base. Now he sees all these links, so he knows what is up. He goes for the full wall on the right side, and he leaves a little gap on the left here on Abyssal Reef. A Basilisk can be many things. I don't know what a gaming team would have to do with water per se, right? Oh my god, Snoxtar is pulling the drones as well. What are these games tonight? We have Upper 3 opening things up with a 3 Rex SCV pool, and Snoxtar opens things up with a 12 pool drone pool. Well, he goes for the Nexus, but this is not a Nexus moment, mate. This is a, I want to fight with all my probes. Just run. Oh no, if he loses the Zealous immediately, he's in trouble. I'm sure that the probes are coming, but that is maybe a tiny bit late. It is a lot of probes. That one Zealot definitely got a lot of hits off. We cancel the Nexus. That is the play. The probes are battling. Not too many Zerglings left. I think Gunner is okay here. And the Adept is about to come out. And with the Adept, Gunner's got to be cooking. It doesn't matter if he loses a lot of probes. It's Snoxtar who also lost a lot of drones. I mean, it's 6 against 4. It's 2 gates against 1. But it's an Adept against the man who has no gas. We have a game, but this should be really good for the Protoss. I think this should be really good for the unless obviously we move out with all the Adepts and we lose a few more probes. At this point, every probe becomes very, very important. One Adept left behind. One Adept is not going to win this fight forever, but can obviously buy some time. Now these 2 Adepts will find these Zerglings. This is big, because I don't see how Snoxtar deals with 2 Adepts, guys. I just don't see a world where a Zerg that went down to 6 drones, I believe it was, 4 drones, whatever, deals with 2 Adepts. I want to say I think this is game over. Like, sure, 1 queen can win the fight eventually, but not before losing 4, 5, 6 drones. And if you lose 6 drones of an 8 drone economy, we're talking 70% plus. I think this is GG. I think Snoxtar knows that this is gonna hurt. Gunner knows that this is paradise. The 2 links will get a couple hits off, but yeah, Snoxtar doesn't even want to see these drones go down. It's a Ukrainian Protoss gunner who takes the 1-0 lead. Stops the 12 pull drone pull. I was a little bit worried when he ran those zealots into the corner and they were forced to fight for a little while until the probes would show up, but it worked out in the end. When he warped in that Nexus, I got a tiny bit worried, but he cancelled it as he should. Because obviously at that point it's all about surviving. It's just making sure your gates don't get unpowered, you don't lose every single probe. Good crisis management there by Gunner, well done. It's very easy, I think, to fall apart in those scenarios. Especially when there is money on the line, people are watching. Like, it's easy to mess up, and he did it. So, well done. I see the channel points swinging a little bit now to our Protoss who's taking the 1-0 lead. I don't know if that game really says a whole lot about how these other games will play out. We haven't seen them actually macro against each other yet. We haven't seen them looking for a little bit of damage and trying to out-multitask one another. Starcraft is amazing. Do you think it's growing or declining right now? It's definitely not growing. That would be mega cope to say it's growing. But I do think Starcraft has been somewhat stable for a while. At the moment though, we are in uncertain times, and uncertain times are not good for a scene. But I also believe after every dark night there is a bright day. I think some good news will come. And then we'll see what we make of it. As the Farseer used to say, the future is ours.
Round 2, fight!
In the bottom left side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our Polish Zerg. No 12 pull, no drone pull this time. We're just gonna play some normal Starcraft. On one of the brand new maps, this is Snoxtar. I wouldn't say old school player, but definitely someone who's been around for a while. He's been around the block. He's probably played in a lot of offline Polish events. I think maybe in 1 or 2 international events, but it's been a little while. In the top right side of Ultra Love, taking the 1-0 lead, making the correct calls in the end, in the heat of the moment, with his back up against the wall. Our man who has peaked this week, he's very active, Platinum Heroes Gunner. Sacrificing 1/9 of your economy to make a hatch, yeah. You put it like that, it is painful. Funny game so far tonight, guys. Starcraft 2, even after all these years, can be full of surprises. Did not really predict these openings of Upper 3 of Snoxtar, but it's all good. No comment on the biggest channel point shooter. You just go full 250k. What happened in bout 1? Upper 3 lost 3-0 against Alex in a series where he definitely could and should have won the second and the third game. In game 1, I thought he was going to win, but maybe energy recharge is mega good in these situations. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it yet on the PTR. But I think game 2 and game 3 we can definitely call Upper 3 victories. That just didn't actually happen. Oh, like that bully. Let's not do that, mate. I know you guys have had your fun with that young man, but I don't want to be a part of any of that. All I look for these days when I stream StarCraft is just a little fun, a little bit of positivity, some happiness. Please don't take that away from me. It's hard to find. Keep it happy. Do me a solid one time, guys. Standard openings this time. We've got a Stargate that has been wiped in for Gunner and is finishing up. Snoxtar's got a regular 3-base setup. What I remember from the macro games of Snoxtar is imagine Pi with 2 working hands and 10 fingers. But still, same idea, same approach, just better execution. And then you've got Snoxtar. Ben loves roaches in a lot of scenarios, potentially every scenario, and he's very good in building them. Maybe you are Snoxtar. Game 1 I believe could have been you. Game 2 so far I see pretty solid adept defense. 2 drones went down, right? Yeah. I think we can live with this. I think this is overall pretty clean on the side of Snoxtar. Not bad at all. Gonna losing these two adepts does suck. He's not gonna be able to warp in this Nexus now. He has the Oracle, can activate Pulsar Beam, can also obviously use energy recharge on this Oracle. Because you do lose energy every single time you activate Pulsar Beam. He's going to use it. I was talking with Winter today, and Winter requested to make it a little bit easier for the observer interface to see when energy recharge is being used. Because now obviously you only see it if you're really focusing on the unit that it's being casted upon. Or sometimes even in a big fight it's hard to see when it's being used on a sentry, on a High Templar, because there are a lot of bullets and animations, etc. I think he made a good point there. I don't know who we could forward that info to, but it'd be nice to see it maybe temporarily appear on the production tab just for a second. Would be nice if you can get like a ping on the minimap, but I've also noticed that it's kind of hard to catch it in some hectic, chaotic moments, especially if they're fighting like a 2-3 different scenarios. But some viewers, they obviously care, right? They want to see when it's being used, on what it's being used. So it'd be cool if that is a little bit easier. As Gunnar flies his Oracle in, maybe he's not quite aware yet that Oracles get one-shotted by Spores, but on this patch, Spore Troll is hurt, baby. Oracles will always hurt against drones, but Sports do hit Oracles, and that really wasn't all that good on the side of Gunnar. Warps in a lot of adepts here. I think this is a pretty big scout for Snoxtar. Now, sometimes there are builds with multiple Oracles and the adepts don't have Resonating Glaive, but I think it's kind of obvious that this is going to be a Resonating Glaive adept. Adept count is somewhat high. Roaches are in production. These are of course going to be slow roaches for a while. Snoxtar has honestly been a tiny bit greedy. Like 52 drones and a lair is a little bit greedy. I actually think he can get away with it because he's just done a good job so far in this game. You think it's gonna get rolled back? I don't think they can. If you roll it back, honestly, Protoss will just become too much. Oracles with energy recharge and then nerfed spores or old spores, I don't think that's doable, man. At high level, that's not doable. What a defense here, by the way, by Snoxtar. Barely loses anything. We're gonna make a lot of correct calls in Game 1. Game 2 is all Snoxtar. There's just no other way to put it. Did a good job against the first 2 adepts. Did a good job against the Oracles. Did a good job against the next 9 adepts. This game, I think, is a relatively straightforward affair. Unless Gunnar becomes MaxPax in the next 30 seconds. I think he's kind of dead in this game. It's not just the attack. This is just not Gunnar's game. Gunnar needs to literally become MaxPax to have a shot here. And I think even Max would struggle against Snoxtar. MaxPax against Spy? I can see Max holding. But a couple of Zerglings are going down and a couple of the Roaches are starting to fall, but there are still so many Ravages left. We've got Queens in the mix as well. The Queens that Reynor did not bring last week when he made an attack on Whispers of Gold against MaxPax. It was a very fun series. Snoxtar perhaps took a little look at those games and realized that that is needed. We have a tiny adept counterattack that is going to kill more than a handful of drones, so that was nice. Okay, Snoxtar, this is not quite a play. I don't like putting that many Ravagers forward without any Roach Link support. Reinforcements make it in the end, and Snoxtar can now just go home and be happy. He can also send his Queens home if he would like that, but apparently he does not want that. Great game regardless by our Polish star. Perhaps 1 or 2 beauty arrows towards the end, but we can let that slide. And just focus on the positive and all the things that he did right. Gunnar does not have an observer with this army, I believe, so he can't even push back the creep. He has lost all of his oracles. Bombs is saying maybe we can have a queen run by. Could have also been the queen stasis trap, you know, you just put it AFK here and then the probe cannot warp it. Oh, yes! Like, imagine Gunnar is gonna be like, what? What is queen run by! 1 probe down, baby! I know Stalkers are battling on the other side of the map, but that's not it. I want to see these queens. Can they kill a Stalker? Is there a will? The queen? No! No, that's so sad. Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. Okay, the entire Protoss army is dead, by the way. But we can recall. Gonna lose at least 1, maybe 2. Nope, just 1. That was funny. One hell of a fight there. Alright, Snoxtar says, cool. That was your little moment where you attacked me. Now it's my time again. We got 8 15 roaches, 2 ravages, 10 hydras. No batteries here anymore. Obviously, no Stargate units to worry about. And we know the hydras as the mean killing machine. I'm certain that they will keep doing that. I gotta say, Gunner displayed some pretty good micro. Pretty promising micro. This was just a moment where no amount of micro was ever going to save you. As he did use energy recharge there. But there is too much Zerg. For the first time, but hopefully not the last time tonight. We are all tied up in a series. 1-1. And you see, this is where like those channel point and cheaters where they're like, oh, the prediction was still open after game 1. That was a game that didn't mean anything. Like, if game 1 is a very standard game where you see the most meta builds go up against each other and one guy looks a lot better than the other, that's where you can say, like, okay, maybe the channel point prediction game should have been closed. But a 12-pool drone pool against the 2-gate opening, like, doesn't mean anything. That doesn't say anything about how this series is going to look. In the first normal game, Snoxtar looked good. But I also think that Gunner will not always have poor starts like this. And there is going to be a moment where he's going to be more cautious with his oracles. He's going to find more value with his first 2 adepts, with the next wave of adepts if he goes for that build again. So I don't know. The whole thing about the big brain bouts is in general to make best of 5s where you don't really know what's going to happen. Where you don't really know who's favored. After 2 games, I don't know yet who's favored. Maybe the Protoss, because Protoss is good, but I digress.
Round 3. Fight!
In the top left side of one of the brand new maps, Whispers of Gold, as we alternate old maps with new maps tonight, we look at the main base where Polish is Zerg, the evolved version of Pi. If Pi is like a Pokemon, Pi would be like Charmander. And I think this man is the Charmeleon, Snoxtar. And Elazer would be Charizard. I think that's a good way to put it. A beautiful evolution of Polish Zergs. In the bottom right side of Whispers of Gold, we are looking at the main base of a Ukrainian Protoss. He is at the bare minimum an Ivysaur. This is Gunner. I think Hellraiser is probably still the Venusaur from the Ukrainian Protosses, but would it be a raffle you had to win with 39 people or a best of 1 ZVP versus Winged? I think that Pi Winged is honestly pretty close right now, Saber. I don't know how that happened. But the better that Winged became in other games, the worse that he became in Starcraft 2. Our boy has lost the magic touch. His friends are closing the gap, so. What Pokemon would Roddy be between Dutch players? Honestly, mate, I think I'm so cool that I'm unique. I'm just Zapdos. I'm mythical, I'm legendary. There is no pre and there is no post. One of a kind, baby. I've always liked Zapdos. Maybe I'm Eevee, because I can go many different routes. Roddy is Caterpie. That's just me. Definitely not Caterpie. Pi 1-3 take the V raffles. I'm actually kind of sad. I still think about me going to the first edition of the Big Gabriel Cup. And I drove from the Netherlands to Germany. Obviously, I didn't get paid for that. It's just community stuff. For fun, I participated in the raffle. Then I actually won a sick Razer keyboard. But I felt so guilty about like being there, being one of the casters. And then also winning the prize that I told them they can keep the prize and give it to somebody else. And I just played for fun. But then later I regretted it. I was like, man, I really wish I had that Razer keyboard. I don't know why I'm always so nice. I don't think it really pays. If I see how a lot of things are happening, I don't know why I'm so nice. I have read the book where the nice guys finish last. And I'm starting to believe it. But not always. Then there are still a lot of things that are so good in life that I still generally believe in being nice. But I gotta say, it's keeping me up at night sometimes. Yeah, well, Zapdos. Zapdos is a flying Pokemon and a bird. Hello, babe. What is it? Vicky just came back from babysitting Jax for an hour. She's very happy, but I don't know why. What's happening? Nothing. She's just happy, which is good. I actually had some nightmares last night as well. I dreamt about Ben, as in Demu. But I don't know exactly why. But I know it was a very bad dream and he was very mean to me. And nothing happened. I'm very good friends with Ben. I'm the best. I was the best man on his wedding. We played Deadlock together. Like, I love Ben and I haven't seen him in a while. But for some reason I had a nightmare last night where Ben was very mean to me. But I forgot the details, so I don't have a story. I just remember being really sad and disappointed. Pretty chill opening coming out of both of our gamers so far. Gunnar saying goodbye to the Stargate for now. This is a Twilight Council with Resonating Glaive Adept, and he's got 2 more gateways as a follow-up. He's gonna open things up with 4 gate Resonating Glaive Adept. Last game we went Adept, so obviously after the Oracles, which is very different. This is a strange pylon, but sure, if he likes. I guess he wasn't happy with his wall, and this fixes his wall. But now we have a pylon in our wall. It's a ruddy wall, guys. They still exist. A ruddy wall. Ooh. That is a decent amount of Zerglings going down. Without really getting anything in return other than the confirmation of, hey, here are the adepts. Last game I did feel that the Snoxtar was a tiny bit greedy, but it paid off. And in the end it was absolutely picture perfect. This time he has not been that greedy. He's down 6 workers, he's pumping out the roaches, lair on the way, all of that is good. He's got 2 spore crawlers already. I think he kind of just made those spores blind, assuming there was a Stargate somewhere. There's not. Those spores will come in handy against the DTs that are on the way. Gunnar finds a queen. Now the roaches and Zorkins get a little surrounded. We have War Prism micro potential here. Queens could go for the Prism. I wouldn't hate that. Queens indeed start targeting it a little bit later. A couple of the adepts finished up their shade into the natural. It is 3 drones only so far. Really good defense by our Polish Zerg. I'm gonna say Snoxtar has definitely been a bit of a gamer against the adepts, but is this the moment that Gunnar has been waiting for 2 games where he finally gets on top of all these drones? It's not bad, and he's also shooting at the spore. That's smart, because that Dark Shrine, guys, is done. And we can now start warping in DTs. He warps in 4 DTs, and I don't think Snoxtar saw it. Snoxtar is 1 hit away from killing that Prism, but the Prism flies away. Now it's 4 DTs on top of a 3rd base. Adepts are still bouncing between the natural and the main. This is great execution by Gunnar. It didn't start off all that hot, but in the end it is great multitasking by our Ukrainian Protoss. And he is going to end up losing these adepts, but that's okay. They have done what they had to do. That Prism is so low, but it's still alive. Only 2 queens remain. I mean, Snoxtar is just in so much trouble. He's a 2-base Zerg. Like, at this point, if you're gonna, indeed, I love this battery. Do I think he needs it? No. But safety first. You're absolutely cooking. You have a dream start. You could still maybe die to something silly like a mass roachling attack from a ghetto economy. Why not go for that safety battery? I think it makes perfect sense. If this was an even game, you really don't have to do that. It's not needed. But if you're this far ahead, yeah, go get it. There's the 2 Archons having a field day in the main base. Another queen falls. More drones will go down. Gotta just had better execution here than Snoxtar. That's what it all boils down to in the end. The roach speed not done yet, but a couple of slow roaches have made it to the bottom side of the map. They might get a Nexus cancel here, but that's really not going to hurt Gunnar that much. Gunnar doesn't even want to see this Nexus get cancelled. He says, I've got sentries, I've got stalkers, I've got immortals, I can drop force fields, and I can put myself back in the lead. A 2-1. GG. Very, honestly, great multitasking there by Gunnar. It didn't even start off all that promising, and I felt that Snoxtar had a pretty good read on the situation. I thought the movement was good. The early spores, they don't help against the adepts, but they could have helped against the DTs. It's just that the rotation into the main base, picking up a couple of the adepts, dropping them, was the beginning of the end for Snoxtar, because Snoxtar could not really keep up there, and Gunnar played that very well. I'm smiling because I'm thinking back of Magnet, our boy Magnet, after one of the games at the Esports World Cup. And I'm not going to say which game it was, but let's just say there was a Protoss against Zerg. And one of the best Protoss players in the world has a Prism, has a bunch of adepts. But in the end, he didn't get much done. Because he also played against one of the best Zergs in the world. Maybe the GOAT. Probably the GOAT. And after the series, I casted it. And Magnus casted it as well, and he walks up to me. He's like, "Did you see that?" He's like, "No cap. I would do better with my adepts in the War Prison than that Protoss. Like, you put me in that situation, and I would do so much better." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know about that, Magnus." I was like, "That's kind of a different ball." He's like, but I was like, I know what you're saying, but I was like, it's not that easy. You're also playing against a Zerg that's pretty good. I was like, I don't think we do all that hot, mate. He's like, no. He's like, we can resume that from replay against the same guy. I'll do better. I was like, and I get it, because I have those feelings too sometimes, but not really of that particular game. Well, yeah, that was a beautiful rotation by Gunnar with the Prism in the main. Something that I'm sure Magnus would look at, and he would absolutely give it the stamp of approval. Game 4, 2-1 lead for the Ukrainian Protoss.
Round 4. Fight.
I love it, A Thief, and I have done it a couple times. And my favorite resume from replay moment, and for the people who don't know, basically anytime you have your hands on a replay, what you can do is load up that replay with a friend, and at any given point in the game, you can start playing and your friend can start playing. And there was a PvP once in the WCS NA or the DreamHack NA, where I was certain that if the Protoss with Immortals would have done nothing, just one right click into the main base and hands of the keyboard, that they would have won the game. And I resumed that game from replay against the Protoss that was better than me, but I forgot which Protoss it was. This is basically when I was 6k, so it was a 6 point something k Protoss. That Protoss was defending with Stalkers. I right clicked the army in, I took my hands off the keyboard and I won. But in the DreamHack NA regionals, that Protoss didn't take that fight, ran back and ended up losing the game 10 minutes later. And I was convinced that that game was unlosable. And we did it 2 times, and the Protoss tried to defend in 2 different ways, but just a right click and hands off the keyboard won me the game. I love resume from replay. I think it's a great way to prove a point from time to time. Anyway, game 4.
Round 4. Fight.
Top right side of ley lines. We are looking at the main base of our Polish Zerg. He brought a 12 pull. He brought some Roach Queen aggression. I think he can still turn this around because he's looking solid in some departments. This is Snoxtar. It does take a little while to load up, yeah, but I think it's absolutely worth it. I think if Starcraft 2 was a bigger game, you'd see it a lot more. Because then people would be so eager to prove points and debate things on the internet, but people are not that interested in debating those things, so just kind of let it go. But I've done it from time to time. I've also done it with Reynor a couple times, where he's in a certain situation with MaxPax, and I waste Reynor's time. I was like, hey, can I play that position from MaxPax's point of view? Even though MaxPax lost, and I'm like, I think I can do better, and Reynor's like, no, you can't. So then we play, and he beats me. We play again, and he beats me. I was like, can we do it one more time? And Reynor's like, fuck off, you're wasting my time. I was like, alright, fair enough. Thank you for the 2 games. So I think resume from replay is really fun. Bottom left side, he is 1 map away from winning 80 buckies, representing the Platinum Heroes. It's the Ukrainian Protoss, Gunnar. Yeah, the MaxPax Clem one, indeed, with the overcharge on, what is the name of the map? It's still around, with the gold bases behind the rocks. So bad with map names. Yep, that overcharge was really big. I'm glad you remember that. That was a fun one too, to experiment with. Because then one fight. And that was me, by the way, guys. I resumed a MaxPax position against Clem. And I won the fight, and at that point was very far ahead. So if I can win that game, then MaxPax would always win that game. Yeah. It's a fun tool. It is a fun tool to not just argue and debate over things, but actually prove a point. Another Resonating Glaive Adept opening coming out of our Ukrainian Protoss. Snoxtar, has he learned a thing or two from the previous game? A man who has been indeed very active in Stormgate. We don't see him too much in the online circuit at the moment. He's probably one of the players that's also just waiting for big announcements. Ooh, he goes for Banelings. I kind of like it. I always tell you guys that I'm a big fan of Banelings against Adepts. Pros will disagree with me on this point, and I have accepted that. And I think that's fine. And I think that might be true for like the best Protosses in the world. But I think for Protoss players a level below the very best, I actually think that going up against Banelings is scarier than going up against Roaches. I understand that in the hands of Serral, Serral just wants reliable stuff. He wants something that's consistent, that he can always count on. And the roaches make sense if you have Serral's movement. But I think a level below this, I actually think banelings can be very good against resonating glaive adepts. Will glaives make a comeback with less drones from the oracles? Absolutely. I've said this for a while, but I am certain that the longer this batch stays around, and assuming nothing changes, that it will not always be oracle openings. This is nice, by the way, by Snoxtar, because this Stalker is not going to win the fight against all these Zerglings. He goes for the water. I don't know why he's attacking that one, by the way, but it doesn't matter. Obviously, a Stalker kill is nice. Here come the Adepts. I don't think that Gunner really knew about the banelings yet. He's going to see it now. You have to cancel that shade, mate. You have to cancel that shade. And he does. That's actually pretty good. One little baneling connects. Here come all the extra Zerglings. Here come the banelings. Honestly, very good micro by Gunner. I think Gunner did this about as good as he ever could have done. And Snoxtar thought he had an opportunity to pounce on this army. I'm very impressed with how Gunner handled that. That was damn good. But he's not there yet, and he still needs to be very careful. But that was so good. It's so easy to lose all your adepts there. It's so easy to make a bad shade. It's so easy to have them clumped up. Incredibly well done by the Ukrainian Protoss. But he still needs to be very careful as he wants to go ahead and become a terror play here. He cancels this shade as well, and he's going to try to spread the adepts one more time. Banelings get pretty decent splash damage this time, and I think the remaining link count, well, I want to say is high enough, but it's really not that high. 4 more adepts being warped in. Uh-oh, and perhaps this is why you can't always count on the banelings. Honestly, I like the banelings. I will always like the banelings, but Gunner just played this damn well, even on creep against a pretty high link number. Maybe Snoxtar was a bit too eager to jump in it because he thought he saw the opening, but I can't blame him. I really cannot blame him, because I would have taken that fight too if I was a Zerg. And this was very well done by Gunner. He goes for the Adepts now, and I'm almost sad about it, because I think that means for the DTs. Because I almost feel that more Adepts would have been better. But GG Gratz gets called. We do have 2 Spore Crawlers, but he did not want to morph the Spore over. He did not want to lose this hatch. Did not want to be a 2-base Zerg. It is Gunner who wins 3-1 in the end. And the biggest moment of this game, let's take another look at that very first engagement. He's got 10 Adepts against 28 Links and 4 Banes. Yeah. So I think the biggest mistake maybe that Snoxtar made is morphing these 2 banelings here. Because A, he loses one of them, and B, he obviously reveals that it's banelings. While if you don't reveal that, maybe the shade finishes, you blow them up immediately. Because he's hiding 4 here. So I think morphing a Bane here, morphing a Bane here is the biggest mistake. And maybe at that point, Snoxtar should have just waited at this point. Be like, alright, let's save these links, let's put them here. But he thought he could bring these Banelings from the top right on top of this army in time. And it looked very promising, but then these links started dying, and then we started splitting the adepts a little bit. Yeah, Gunner did this really well. One mistake by Snoxtar, and it is the game ending immediately. GG! GG! Congrats to our Ukrainian Protoss for winning 80 buckies. Well done. Unfortunate for Snoxtar. Activity pays, and people always get better in Starcraft 2, and I think this is a good series to prove that. Because in the past, I don't think Gunner would have taken out a man like Snoxtar. But he is the more active player, and he gets rewarded. Well done. Congrats to our man from the Ukraine. As he gets this dub. Complete prediction. Up next, I think we've got Art versus Young Yakov. Is that what it is? That is indeed what it is. Young Yakov reached out to me and he said, Roddy, now I want to play. I know I declined in the past, but it is time. I want to play. I'm motivated. I'm active. Our Polish Protoss Art has been asking me for a while, and I kind of think that these two are a good match for each other. I think last time that Polish Art played, he won as well. These guys are both over 6,000 MMR. They're incredibly good at the game. It's going to be fun. A Polish Protoss against a Russian Zerg. I'll give you guys 15 minutes. The winner gets $100. The loser gets $25. And that is all provided by Basilisk, of course. Can't believe you got young Yakov instead of old Yakov. I believe in the future, mate. The children are the future, as Whitney Houston tried to tell us a long time ago. Still waiting for the Art against Art, best of 69. I've already casted a best of 69 between 2 Eastern European Protosses. We can always try to do that again. But I have the feeling that Polish art would not be too eager for that. Unless we put a nice prize on the line. Other than him being able to keep his nickname, which he can do anyway, right? It's the free world. I'll take a couple minutes break, and then we'll be back. High level PvZ. We've got the 2 kind of community series out of the way. Now, we have 2 very high level series coming up. A PvP later between Australia and SKillous, where the winner gets $150. And now just a very fun high level PvZ between Polish Art and Young Yakov. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. I'll see you soon.